I once again have the great pleasure and the opportunity of talking to Will Reeves. He is an Ironjawz player who lives kind of up in the Pacific Northwest and has been doing very well with Ironjawz lately with Kragzog Stampede. So I'm looking forward to talking to him and getting his input on how to do well with Ironjawz and like the meta and whatever, I don't know, whatever other topics we kind of want to talk about, you know? But first, of course, I'd like to thank all my patrons, Wybarian for the channel art, and Baron of Dice for supporting the channel. Thanks, everybody. Wah.
Cool. We're live.
So you've actually had some success with, like, Ironjawz. I haven't, like... So here's been my experience lately with Ironjawz in terms of just, like what people have been saying about them in Discord and stuff, is they just can't... If they play a whole bunch of infantry... they really struggle.
That's probably true. If I could build my models, I'm gonna try a list in September at Sparkle Party Deathmatch that will be infantry. Well, mostly infantry, but we'll see.
But right now you're running the big pig jig.
Yeah, just running the big pigs. Like I did it. So I did this partially as a joke, right? So Alex Butler also plays Ironjawz some occasionally, rarely. He keeps talking about, well, I'm going to bring the big pigs to a tournament, and he never does. So I was like, cool, I'll just enter him into the Nine-Mo event over on Vancouver Island. And then, like, I lost 1 out of 5 games. And I was like, wow, these guys are actually significantly better than I thought.
Yeah.
And to put this into perspective, by the way, so I lost a game to Matt Chabo, who was running an insane like Skaven list that made me -1 to hit, -1 to wound, and -1 on my attacks profiles. And then I played Matt 2 weeks ago at the Richmond reroll tournament. Same mission, exactly the same lists, and I tabled him with the pigs. Like, I learned my lesson, which is don't let the Skaven get their spell off, just charge them.
So the list is essentially like 2 Tusk bosses, a Hack and Crew, and a Gouger, and then 4 minimum units of Gruntas, and this is the original Gruntas, and then 1 reinforced unit of Gruntas.
Correct.
And then it's the Kragzog Stampede Army of Renown, and then both the Trophy Hunter and the Boom Skull go on the same hero, the same Tusk boss.
Yeah, I think so. You could switch that around. I don't the Boom Skull feels like it's the thing that's most impactful. Because how many times do you fight a war machine? Well, okay, so he gives him the trophy hunter gives him +1 rend on his weapon that's got 7 attacks. Against war machines and monsters. So the artifact is not, or the trait or whichever one it is, it's not that impactful. The Boom Skull, though, because it does mortals to your opponent when you declare. Yeah, so that's actually really useful. Like, it's your opponent says, I'm going to all-out attack, you say, I all-out defend, take D3 mortals.
Yeah.
Or take 2 to 3, you know, and then you all-out attack into the same unit, and you could potentially do 6 damage, and you know, if you're super lucky, in 1 turn using commands.
Yeah, like that's what I found, right? Like, there's no wizards, so there's no magical intervention. There's no covering fire.
There is, like, absolutely use those places of power so that you can make the Tusk boss a wizard, and then magical intervene to get to stop 1 spell or get rid of a super annoying manifestation.
Right, to banish. Sure.
Yeah.
But we don't have any run in charge, right? So we tend not to run 6 inches like we do in Cruel Boys or in other armies with run in charge. I mean, power through is another good command, but that will deal a 2-up D3 mortals, right? We tend to be in combat with things we power through, right? There's just lots of good, and like we like all-out attack in a destruction 4-up to hit army, right?
Right.
And that's great.
You know, that's like, and you mentioned that it's the old gruntas. The new gruntas are terrible for this army because one of the, I don't know if they're terrible, but one of the parts of this army is you do D6 mortals.
Yeah.
On the grunta charge, but that only works on the old ones. The soggy gruntas don't have that. That's not on their war scroll.
Yeah, so, just for people listening, right? 'Cause some people aren't super familiar with this. It's it's called it's the Grunta Wa, right? Once per battle army, your charge phase. Yeah, the reroll charge rolls for, it's like everybody wholly within 18 of the hero that called the Wa. So it's generally pretty generous. Like you can tend to kind of get, almost all of your army within this radius if you're smart and if you move stuff around properly. And then that 2-up D3 turns into a 2-up D6, and you roll a 2-up on a D6, right?
No, the way it's worded is on a 2-up. So it could be, the way it's worded, I'm not looking at it right now, but if I remember, and the way I've done it is, it says on a 2-up, you do D6 damage. So
no, it doesn't.
D3, and then I roll a D6.
It says roll a D6 instead of a D3. Oh, when determining the amount of mortal damage inflicted.
Right.
I see. Okay.
So you could, so the downside is you can actually do one mortal. And you're like, oh, cool, I rolled a 1.
But it's quite impactful. Like it's a lot of mortal wounds, right? Like they stack up, right?
They do, and if your opponent knows what it does, they're actually really nervous. Like a lot of players that I've played, they know that once a game, I'm going to slap all of those pigs in, and that they could take in a terrible scenario, they take 18 mortals or more.
It's a
lot.
Have
cavalry. It usually doesn't, 1/3 of the time it doesn't do anything because you don't roll a 2-up, and it's not as it feels like it's sometimes more impactful just as a deterrent, where people are like, oh, I don't want to get hit with the Wa this turn. Sometimes it does you great, sometimes it doesn't. If you want to run through what the army does, though, we should probably do that.
Sure.
So because it's different from normal Ironjawz. So it's low drops. It's only 2 drops. And I don't see why you would make it more. You could go for 3 and I think turn the Hacken crew into a Tusk boss and get 3 Tusk boss, but I don't think that's worth it. It's got 1 Wa, which you described. The Wa, though, it gives within 18 inches of the hero that does it. It does the mortals that we just talked about, but it also lets you re-roll all of your charges. So I think that's the most impactful thing. You don't have to worry about, I'm spending 1 CP to re-roll a single charge. Your whole army is going to re-roll charges, and that's big. The entire army gets faster as the game progresses. So in turn, you add the turn number to their movement. So
that's really impactful.
It's really impactful. At the end of the game, a single, if you have a whittled down unit of Gorgruntas, it only has 1 model left in it. It's still moving 14 inches. It could move 20 if it ran, which is usually the entire board from wherever you're standing to get to a corner and grab an objective. So I found it late game, I was grabbing every objective on the table a lot of times because I could just run a pig over, halfway across the board and grab it.
Even turn 1, even going from 9 inches to 10 inches, the gap between normal deployment zones is about 18 inches. So being able to go 10 and then have an 8-inch rerollable charge is statistically quite a bit better than having a 9-inch charge.
I would agree. So just the way I play, and I know this throws off some people, I'm not a throw your entire army into your opponent round 1. Usually, and the reason is usually your opponent, part of every war game, it seems, is an unpacking, which is usually the first turn of the game, where you're unpacking your army from your deployment zone. And if you just choose, if you're like, hey, I'm 2 drops, I'm going first. I mean, there's times you do this, but like, and I throw my whole army into yours, I usually lose when I do that. Because you usually, like, your opponent, if they're smart, they just screen that out.
So some other abilities. So like you don't lose momentum at the end of the first turn, so you can sort of maintain momentum moving forward, which is nice.
And that means, so when I play it, I'm always going second if I can, because I'll redeploy. I'm usually going to go second, and I'll redeploy 1 pig in the first turn, so in my opponent's turn, so that it already has 2 momentum. And then I'll probably just run all my big pigs in the first turn and not fight. And that way they're all at 2 or 3 momentum going into round 2.
Yeah, it's scary.
That's scary. It's really scary for the, I really feel that the Maw Grunta Gorger is the MVP, because it makes people fight last on a 2-up when it's got 3 momentum.
Yeah, that's a pretty powerful ability. I remember doing that in 3rd edition. Like when they first came out, I was playing Big Wah, and it's like, like on a flank, being able to like run for a turn and then charge in. It was a little bit different. I think the charge gave you 2 and the run gave you 1 in the previous edition. They kind of flipped it.
They did.
In this new book, but it was nice to be like, I'm going to run and then I'm going to charge, and like striking last on a flank was good. But yeah, like I played a game against Nighthaunt recently, and I was able to countercharge one of the Gougers and hit something and have it strike last, and it was a huge swing in my favor.
That is how I tabled the Skaven army. Vizik, the big rat monster, charged into my line, and I made like a 7-inch countercharge with the Gorger, rolled a 5, put him on fights last, and then just killed him.
So there's
other things this does though that makes it pretty useful is this army gets a deployment phase move on one unit that's not a hero. As I read it, and I'm sure there'll be some person who tells me I'm wrong, but you're not in a turn when that happens, so you don't get +1 movement because you're not in turn 1. It's deployment phase. There's probably someone who picks up 1 move when they do it, but I'm pretty sure deployment is not a turn, so your pigs actually only move 9 inches and 10 on the big ones.
Sure. I mean, like, I think that's probably correct.
And then other things. The 1 hero gets Wall of Hogflesh, which says if he's wholly within 6 inches of a non-hero unit, then he's -1 to be hit in shooting. And basically that's the equivalent of being in cover. So you can, like you just did a video on how to beat KO, and this army's problem with KO is that KO will just murder the big pigs because there's no way to obscure them.
Right.
So like when I played Matthias a couple weeks ago, and the game went pretty good until I had to take all my pigs out of cover. Like I put my big pigs in cover, so at least he was -1 to hit the monsters because he's still shooting through the cover. But the 1 Tusk boss doesn't care. He'll just stand out in the open, and he's still -1 to be hit.
Is he playing KO?
Yeah, he's playing KO.
No. He's going to be at Northern Wastes in a couple weeks here. And I'm kind of scared of him just generally, right? But like, so.
Yeah, I did pretty good up to round 4, and then I lost a critical big pig, and it truly went downhill. But this army really struggles against something like KO, where every destruction army struggles because you're maybe not Cruel Boys, but you're -1 to hit because of the boats.
Yeah, so, Cruel Boys don't care.
They kind of care. You're still wanting to at least get some extra damage in outside of your mortals, but right, you're relying on mortals.
I can't remember what the math is exactly. I did it the other day, but if you have venom encrusted weapons where you're critting on 5s, the 4s will like a fully reinforced unit of Gutrip is throwing 61 attacks will deal something like 2 or 3 damage that's non-mortals.
Yeah.
Right? It's like zero rend, right? Like people just kind of save it all, and it's like, okay, well, I failed 2 saves, right? And it's like, right, so 2 damage and then 20 mortal wounds.
Right.
So it's like we care a
so
lot less than other destruction
you
armies.
care a lot less. So other parts for this army, I know you talked about this at one point on your show. Because of the way it's worded, they tell you in Armies of Renown if you can't take faction terrain.
Right.
And so you can take it. I would always put it in my list because they haven't changed it. You don't have to deploy it. And the tower, when it does, like when it's impactful in a game, boy, it's impactful to tell someone like, I'm sorry, but you're Kraz or whatever, that giant Stormcast dragon or something is charging on 1 dice, like, or Kragnos is only charging on 2, so he's not making that bomber charge. Like, it does make a big difference, and a lot of times it does nothing and it just stands there. But
yeah, as long as it's not in the way, right?
Right, as long as it's not in the way, exactly. And if it's in the way, I just look at the table and then just stick it back on my shelf and say, nah, I'm not deploying it. Yeah.
And that's
and then
there's a rampage.
The rampages. The rampages are really significant. That's right. We should run through that. And the order of operations for them. So the rampage is eating on the hoof, I think is what it's called.
Correct.
It's an amazing rampage.
It's very good.
In the charge phase. So this is great against that stupid army of renowned corn, which I have beat with this list. That rampage lets you instantly kill any model whose wound characteristic you can roll over on a d6 plus your momentum.
Yes.
So if you have momentum 1, you're instantly killing at least a model that's wound 1. But if you're at momentum 3, you could kill something that has 8 wounds on it, which is kind of scary.
But killing something that has like health 5 is like I'm finding in this Army of Renown, because you have so many little pigs, that by the time the big pigs do commit, they generally all have 3 momentum. Like you said, It's like you don't lose momentum at the end of the first turn. You're gonna run them to generate some extra momentum, and then when the Tusk boss charges in his rampages, he gives momentum to things around him. So the likelihood of having 3 momentum on the big pigs, I'm finding, is really, really high. Right? Like it's consistently 3. And so like something like it's like a 3 up to kill a rock gut, right? It's a 3 up to kill a gore grunta, right? Like it's like a nice reliable thing. And like you were saying, like, and then I'll let you make your tell our comment about the order of operations, but this is a rampage that you can use on any of the big pigs. So it's like
any of the big pigs in every charge phase. Yeah.
So it's like they go into something like it's nice to have the flexibility to be like, 3 of my big pigs went in. This is the one that went into the 5 health, whatever, and they're the one that's gonna like eat the thing over here in the corner. Like the flexibility is nice.
Right. And yeah, so there's multiple orders of operations. There is some like non-smooth brain thinking with this. If you're doing it on the Wa turn, remember that the little pigs could be doing d6 mortals, and so like you have to decide what order do I want to do this, because they may just kill a 5 wound, like they have a 1 in 3 chance of killing something with 5 wounds, because they'll just roll a 5 or a 6, right? So you just pick which order you do in the charge phase. But the other part about this rampage, and I swear to GW just doesn't understand rampages. They think that every monster can only do 1 rampage, and they've never written that as a rule.
Correct.
So this rampage says if you have not used another rampage this turn, then you can use Eating on the Hoof. It doesn't say that you can't use a rampage later. So the Hacken crew has a movement phase rampage. In the chance that it uses it, then it can't use the charge phase one, because that was in the movement phase. The critical part with this is the Tusk boss rampage that gives you +1 momentum is in the charge phase. So you might end up charging with the Tusk boss, eating someone with Eating on the Hoof, and then using his second rampage. If that makes sense.
Yeah, because it's like only the Army of Renown one says you can't use it if you've already used another one. So you just use it first. Like you
Right.
said, the hacking crew one happens in the movement phase, but the Tusk boss happens in the charge phase, and the Gouger happens in the combat phase.
Yep.
Yes, it happens in the
phase.
combat phase, flattened into the mud. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's just the thing that like there's a weird order of operations on it. And I found that ability was a game changer in a lot of games because I played a game with Rot Guts and I think it was Nick. I don't remember. He went 4-1 or 3-2, and I was killing a Rot Gut every turn.
Yeah.
Starting on turn 2, like I just ate a Rot Gut every turn because I was rolling well, and he was just like, "Oh, this is not what I expected." Because a lot of models, the Corn Army of Renown does get to avoid this, but a lot of things like you don't get a ward against instant death.
Mm-hmm.
You do get the stand, like the Corn Army gets to stand back up on a 5-up on anything that killed them, but a lot of stuff, if it just kills them, they don't get to take a ward. They're just dead.
So for a Rock Gut, it's like if you charge in turn 2, you need a 3-up to kill a Rock Gut, and then on the next turn before the next round, it's a 3-up again, right? And then the next battle round, it'll be a 4-up and then a 4-up again. So it's like you can chew, like in 2 rounds of combat, you can chew through a lot of Rock Guts. Or
you can.
Yeah.
You're probably going to power through and not be in combat so that you can redeploy and or charge. Yeah. So then the other parts, and I'm not sure on battle tactics. I used Attune to Gyron and Restless Energy, and I actually just literally table my opponents with this when it's working. There's nothing left a lot of times. I'm always, since I have the pregame move, I'm usually just going to be in the center of the table anyways, so Attune to Gyron just worked for that. And then I found that intercept and recover is a really common battle tactic.
Yes.
So I'm going to pick multiple units. I'm always going to pick the Gorgruntas as the target for that because they have more wounds and a better save than anything else. Like they have 15 wounds or 30 wounds on the big squad. And so it's even more than the Tusk boss because they're on a 3-up save and the Tusk boss is 14 on a 3-up save. So they have 1 wound.
And they're like a less juicy target too. Like your opponent would rather shoot a Tusk boss than he would want to shoot 3 Gruntas.
So right. And so I found with the Attune to Gyron, like I take the center of the table and then my opponent's going to charge my Gorgruntas and I might as well retreat 2 Gorgruntas. Like whatever, they retreat, I get 5 points for battle tactics, and then they can charge back in the next turn. And the crazy part about the retreat is on turn 2, if they're retreating, they're moving 11 inches. So like they can retreat past my opponent. At least in 2 games, my opponents were like, "Oh, you just took my home objective," and I was like, "Yep," because that Gorgrunta is now
fast,
moving at a super fast speed when it retreats, and so it's not a useless retreat. Like there's often a 10-point retreat or a 5-point plus an objective in the retreat. So that I found that to be pretty good. Restless Energy, it sort of worked with it well. But I really did have to think about, there's so many armies there's like, I'm taking intercept and recovering. I'm like, okay, cool. Well, that's a better battle tactic than I thought it would be. Because if you just choose to hide units in the back, they're not doing their job.
There's a handful of armies where it's really annoying to try to intercept and recover. Like, for example, I think like as a Cruel Boys main, playing against people who have intercept and recover, I'm often like, okay, these 6 Bolt Boys, this Swamp Kala Shaman, and this other foot hero that's going to stand in the tower. And it's like, you will get no tactics if I can sort of keep my castle intact. As soon as you punch a hole through the wall of one of my like castles, you can come in and get it done. But people just tend not to. Like I think I'm on a 7-game win streak right now with Cruel Boys, playing like in like my local whatever, and nobody has scored intercept and not one player has scored 1 intercept and recover against me. Like, or Skaven. Skaven's another good example. I feel like you can have some Skaven like infantry heroes that are just going to jump around gnaw holes and cast spells, right? And it's like there are a handful of armies But generally speaking, it's like, yeah, you're right. It's like you play against Stormcast, and it's like, oh, you're whatever, you put it on your big mounted hero, be it whatever, the one of the dragons or the crow or whatever, and it's like, yeah, like your hero just isn't doing anything. Like there's most armies that's the case, I feel.
Right, and I mean, even for yours, if you're going to put your shaman in the way back, then he may not like.
Well, no, I don't. He
spells-
moves up. He stands
He moves up.
behind. But there's just like right now, Cruel Boys are so undercosted. I just have so many. Like I think I have my list has something like 72 models,
Yes.
right? And like I don't play Scumdrek and I don't play the Vulture Boss. I play like a Break-a-Boss and a Nashtooth. So my sort of big centerpiece heroes are lower in points, which means I have even more models on the table, even compared to other Cruel Boys lists.
Yeah, so you get to screen them out. So
Yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, back on this one. So attuned to Gyrang, restless energy. I had to think about intercept and recover. This army's pretty fast. So, is it Wrath? One of them has maybe it is restless energy. I can't remember. One of them it says like have no, the battle tactic criteria is have no enemy units in friendly territory.
Yeah, that's
This
Master
army-
of the Paths, I think. That's the
Master
second
of
one,
Paths.
Master of the Paths, yeah.
Yeah, so this army is good at Master of the Paths because unless they have really good shooting, they're probably not killing the Tusk Boss. Because the Tusk Boss is surrounded by a bunch of scary models. And I only have 2 heroes, so it's not like those lists that have 6 heroes or something. Like, you only have 2 options. And then this army is really fast, so it ruins that no units within friendly territory because, like I said, I could just retreat into your territory with 11, 12, 14-inch move, whatever, depending on the turn of the game. So, part of this list, the way one was, it can also stop battle tactics. It's fast, it's durable, it stops battle tactics, it's decently killy, but it doesn't have it really suffers when it goes up against -1 to hit
Yes, absolutely. How are you finding the meta in we're both up in the Pacific Northwest?
Yeah.
What kind of lists are you running into generally?
So I played, now I'm trying to remember, so I think I played Stormcast, Gloomspite Gets, Skaven, I can't fully remember what I played against
Whoops. Looks like we just had a misclick there. Come on back, Will. Yeah, we're back. Yeah, we're back.
Okay, that was cool. I crashed it somehow. Yeah, so you asked what I played. I played KO, the Army of Renown from Khorne. I played Skaven in both tournaments in the last couple weeks, and then Gits and I truly don't remember. Oh, and Cities of Sigmar.
Are you seeing lots of really aggressive charge cavalry lists? Is it are you finding that it's a good mix?
That's a good question. Whether there's been a lot of, I wouldn't say there's been a lot of cavalry. There's been a mix of the KO is unique. Cities of Sigmar is a bunch of war machines because it's teleporting cannons. They have cavalry. They had a lot of those. I forget what their cavalry is called. Guys on horses.
Guys on horses, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe there's a decent amount of cavalry and this army likes cavalry because the pigs get +1 damage on cavalry on the impact hits, the models on the chart. So they could do 7 damage on the Wa turn because they're +1, and then they're +1 rend against cavalry with their sort of crummy little weapons.
I'm kind of leading into a question of how are you using that deployment phase move? From how I can sort of cut it, it's like if you're going first, if you're going second, or if you're predicting you're going first, you're going second. Because I guess you have to actually make this move before the attacking player decides who's going first, right?
You can person with the lowest drops.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. Well, that's yes. And
which with one exception is me.
Sometimes, yeah, but the only time that I find that I run into someone who's also playing 2-drops is someone like in my local sort of group. There's a player who's doing like a lots of cavalry night haunt, which is very fast. People are running Kragnos with like some of the Git mob, right? Like the wolf cavalry are very, very fast. There's the new like KO frigate, you know, like it's like 18 inches plus charge. I'm running into lots of lists that are really aggressive, and I'm like for me personally, and I'm finding that this pre-game deployment phase move of just like moving 3 pigs up into the middle of the table is a huge advantage in some of these matchups. How are you using the deployment phase move?
Yeah, I use it 2 ways. Primarily, to just put a big pig somewhere on an objective where I just plan to redeploy that pig so that I hold the objective at the start of the turn, so it's mine, and then redeploy him to pick up momentum. And I know, like, I don't think I've ever not known who's going because I've outdropped and or won the roll off against the other 2-drop lists. The other option is put 3 or 6 pigs in the center of the table, and that's particularly useful if you know they have the Dune to Gyron also, because you know that they're going to try to take the center of the table, and you have an entire unit of pigs that are just standing there to charge them.
Yeah, it seems reasonable.
So yeah, pretty much it's just a first turn scoring. Like I know that the underdog, like there's a couple missions where the underdog mechanic's really painful.
Yeah.
I played one yesterday where I ran a cavalry Seraphon army, and 2/3 of my army was stuck on a frigging objective for 3 turns of the game because I was not the underdog.
Oh, is that the one where you like pick everything up and put it back down again?
No, it's grasping. It's called grasping thorns or something.
Oh, okay.
So like, on a 3-up, a unit cannot leave the objective.
It's so busted.
And my opponent just managed to roll the 3-up it was like on that unit 3-up, on that unit 3-up.
That's cool. So impactful. Like it really is.
So you know, except in situations like that where you know like you might really not want to be the ahead on points. I'm usually of the opinion like just steamroll them on points.
I agree.
And keep going. So grab an objective round 0 in the deployment phase, and you know you can with a big pig you just redeploy because you're really scary when you already have 2 momentum. So you know a lot of people don't even want to get near you. You're like, cool.
The damage is quite significant.
Yeah, I will eat your model. Please charge me. You have, you know, whatever, 3 wounds.
Hooray!
So, so you know, do I think this is like the only Ironjawz list? No, I actually like said originally did it sort of as a joke because it was, you know, other people talk about bringing all pigs, and I was like, fine, I'm just going to do it. And then it did really well, and so I've taken it. I think I've taken it to 3 tournaments now, and actually let someone. I mean, to show you like how decent it does. We had a local 1-day tournament, and there was this was after we had an escalation league where everyone started at 500 points and they worked up to 2,000, and then we ran a tournament, like a 1-day 3-round tournament at the end, and you didn't have to bring the army that you built up to 2,000 points. You could just bring any army you wanted. It's a standard 3-day event,
sure,
or 3-round event, and so the other Ironjawz player who was not having a good time with foot Ironjawz, he just borrowed this because he'd never run it before. He went 3-0. He didn't win. He lost.
Right.
He lost for 1 point to the other person that went 3-0. So, like, it's not a bad list.
It's a good tournament list, right? It's got 4 war scrolls.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to pilot. It's like it's fast. It's got what? Sorry.
It's got 5. It's got a tower.
Oh, it's got a sure. Oh, right. Yeah, it's got a tower, right? But it's like it's pretty easy to pilot. It's fast. It's survivable and quite tanky. So like if someone was like pretty new to the game and they're like, oh, like whatever, it's like I go into this tournament, I don't want anything too complicated. It's like, dude, like just all pigs.
Yeah. Correct. I mean, he played before, but it really hadn't played much, and yeah, did fine. I would say there is one. I mean, there's numerous downsides. There's no wizards and no priests, whatever. But one of the bigger problems I've run into in a lot of games is Gorgruntas are big. Like, even 3 Gorgruntas occupies a lot of table space.
They do, yeah.
And it is incredibly easy to pin your own army.
Yeah, that's what I've found. Like sometimes I'm finding I'm deploying them like instead of 3 wide, I'm deploying them almost like 3 deep, just so I can sneak through little spaces. Exactly. So it's like sometimes it's like I want them like super wide, like end to end or whatever, but like sometimes I want them like a little missile. Depends on like the board setup, and it's tricky, right? But like jumping into Tabletop Simulator and deploying 10 times on some different maps will help you with that, right?
It will, but Tabletop Simulator, it's really hard to do it in real life where you spend so long going, okay, this model goes here. Anyways, yeah, sure. I do find that pinning myself was always a problem. That is actually another reason that Attune to Gairon is not a bad battle tactic, because you say you have 1 Gorgrunta that's blocking your squad of 6. You have 1 Gorgrunta remaining from a squad of 3, and then you have your block of 6 that would really like to charge. Retreat him. Like, if you only have to retreat 2 units for that second Attune to Gairon, so I did find that getting myself out of my own way for my bigger, heavy hitting units was something I had to do anyways.
I like it.
So, yeah.
Have you tried the list with, because there's essentially 2 versions of the list. There's 3 or 4 big pigs, and I think there's a version with 6 big pigs.
I only own 5. So
see, and that's another problem. That's what people keep saying, right? Like I've been, like in my Discord or whatever, I've been talking to people and they're like, oh, like I'm struggling with this. I'm like, oh, just run all pigs. And people say, well, I don't own all pigs. Right? And it's like, right. That is like a huge barrier to entry for this army of renown. People don't want to have 6 units of gruntas. It's a lot of gruntas.
I didn't have enough gruntas, and I know your listeners will never be able to accomplish this short of great luck. I found 3 gruntas fully painted, based, and prepared for $15 American on eBay.
Wow.
And so I was short 3 gruntas, and I was like, oh, look. That was another decider for running this army was, oh, look, I found some. I also have some converted models because I used to run orcs in my Soul Blight. They were like orc vampires, and I got rid of my Soul Blight, but the orcs have stayed, so now they're just Gorgruntas.
I'm lucky in that up here where we play, they're not GW sponsored events. So I have 2 units of gruntas and then 4 units of 3D printed, like orcs on pigs.
Nothing down here is GW. I mean, okay, the Tacoma Open, but some of mine, I'm looking over to the side, but all my army's packed because I'm hoping to play on Saturday at a tournament. Some of my Gorgruntas are also bone splitters that have gotten onto bigger bases. Right.
Yeah. There's ways of getting around it, right? But it's a lot of pigs. Like it's a lot of pigs. So I understand when people are like, "Oh, I don't own that many." It's like I get it. I get it.
And like, I'm not sure I would invest in it because
it's good now, right?
Yeah, it's decent now. Like there are armies you'll not win against, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I'm the kind of
So-
player where it's like I go deep into armies like I don't go wide. Like players will like, oh, I just started this new army, or I'm selling this army. It's like I did that for a little bit when I first started the game, but I don't do that anymore. It's like I play orcs and goblins. That's it. So like
Okay.
I just bought my 60th Ard boy. I traded a friend of mine. So it's like I got 60 Ard boys, 30 brutes, 4 big pigs. Like I can put anything I want on the table. That's just the kind of like collector I am, right?
Try the 60 Ard boys. I think I ran 60 or 80 one time, and I was so unimpressed.
It's you got to run into the Zog rocks. Did you run the Zog rocks?
No.
5 up ward. Like.
Yeah. No, it's not the ward. Actually, Jason, who's down here, he ran that at one of my 2 days that I ran, and he said, it's a fun army, but it doesn't do well. Like it just doesn't. The Ard boys don't kill enough.
Correct. If the meta is stand on circles, I think they can do very well. But if the meta is anything but that, then they kind of struggle. Well, like the shield bash, you need to run like a bunch of those Ardboy bosses so that they deal the 5 up mortals on shield bashes, right? And then it gets a little bit better. But it's
I mean, so my problem with Ardboys is just can't get. So if you run 60, I would just my experience is good luck getting 60 of them into combat. Like you could get 60 into combat, but not all of them are going to be within 3 inches of your enemy. So they're not going to all get their shield bash. And then like it's the big difference. One of the big differences between brutes and Ardboys is that I can almost always get all 10 brutes in a fight. And Ardboys, I'm like, there's those guys in the back. They're just hanging out, mucking about near a rock. So that's I've struggled with the all Ardboys. I have, and then that is my side.
No, don't get me wrong. It's not a competitive choice. It's just like a for fun. Like somebody will come over to my place and be like, oh, like I'm just kind of learning the game or whatever. It's like because I'm very I'm always very like inviting and welcoming to people that are new to our community up here. Like up where we live, like up in the north here, we have a very like small but super welcoming and friendly. So when people are new, it's like, yeah, come over, play me. What are you playing? Cool. I'll play something that sucks against that, or right, and like just come on over. Like we'll have a game. It'll be fun, right? So that's like, the kind of thing.
Someone run 60 Ardboys, and they'll be like, no.
It's like, well, here's something, right? Like, do you want me to play all pigs or all like,
So I am gonna try an infantry list. I think if I don't run my KO, and I kind of don't want to run KO right now because I think they've got a negative rep.
Yep.
I think I'm gonna, and I think it's not valid. I don't think they're as overpowered as people say. But we'll
agree.
See.
I think
I'm gonna run the Goblin Regiment of Renown. I think so. My problem with running infantry Ironjawz has been scoring battle tactics, but also getting to my opponent without, like getting to them to do their job early in the game. So I think I'm gonna run the cavalry goblin army. I forget what it's called.
It's the one with Gobblepalooza, the herd, the hoppers.
The one that's got the wolves.
Oh, okay.
Because they can deep strike, so that whole regiment around can just drop out of the pit in the ground or wherever they're hanging out. But also they're good for like they can all be obscured. They could take the scent. Like they're not a bad screen, and if they stop my opponent for just half a turn, then my brutes can get in there. That's my goal. So,
is it Braggett's bottle snatches?
No, that's the one that lets you run in charge and has the Gobblepalooza. It's the something Shin Stealers or something in there. It's 2 units of Goblin
it's
cavalry.
The shiny Steelers.
Shiny Steelers, that's what it is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a Snarl Boss, Wolf Get Retinue, and then 2 squads of 3 Snarl Pack Cavalry, and a Sun Steela Wheeler with 2 models. Yeah, and they have an ambush. They just have like a deep strike, like a standard deep strike, right? Anywhere outside of 9. Yeah. And that's
But
it. That's all they
you don't
do.
have to use it. You don't. And part of it's like some of the regiments. If I'm trying to remember, I'm pretty sure you don't have to. Because like the KO Regiment of Renown, one of them you have to.
Yeah, this one you
have to.
don't.
Yeah,
It has an if clause.
It has an if, so yeah, it's a good screen. It's fast, and if it could just screen a little bit, it'll let the brutes move up to punch somebody for 500 points, which was what I was gonna put into Ard Boys and something anyways.
Just something to get in the way. Have you thought about Big Rick's Cruel Shot in Ironjawz?
I have. I ran it. Well, I didn't run it this edition. I ran it the previous GHB. And it was okay.
Without some of the other supports, it's not as strong. It's a little bit expensive too.
Yeah, it doesn't get all the benefits of being a Cruel Boy.
Correct.
So yeah, and if it had venom encrusted weapons, maybe it would be a lot better. Or any dirty trick.
Killbow is scary, man. The Killbow does so well, like almost every game I play. Everybody runs a monster. Except for KO, right? They just run boats. Nighthaunt doesn't either.
Right. Nighthaunt doesn't care because they all fly. So you can shoot them anywhere anyways. But
no, they just it's war machines, right? Like some armies don't really have monsters, right? They run war machines.
Oh, for the Killbow, right? So
yeah,
the Black Coach doesn't care.
Correct.
Yeah.
D6 damage is very different than a flat 6 damage.
Right. It's still scary. Like,
yes.
Your opponent will inevitably be like, ooh, Black Coach doesn't want that.
Yeah, but against like a 12 health 4-up save monster, like a generic, not a superhero monster, but like a Stegodon.
Yeah, a Stegodon. Yeah.
Right, a 4-up save, 12 health. It's like, okay, if I hit and wound both of these, it's dead. Right. It's like you don't get to make a save. It beat with its 3 rend, it just beats your save, and it's 12 damage, and right, and it's terrifying for people. Yeah, especially if you like
list also.
Yes.
It's terrifying because I could make you -1 to hit me with the wall of hog flesh or using cover constructively, but I'm still saving on 6s.
And I'm still hitting on 4s.
Yeah.
Even with the -1.
How are you doing? Oh, with all out attack?
No, because it has a built-in +1 if it didn't move.
Oh, okay.
So it's like I'm still hitting on 4s. Right? So it's like one of these is going to go through, right? So it's like one of these is going to make it through to the wound roll. So anyway, that's enough about Crow Boys. We'll save that for another video. I really appreciate you taking the time, Will, and coming to chat with me tonight.
Good luck at Northern Wastes, which is it next month?
No, it's coming up. It's at the very end of August. It's the last weekend. Okay, so today's the 21st.
It's the 3-day weekend for both countries.
Yeah, it's about 7 days, 7-8 days away.
Next
Saturday.
So yeah, good luck. Hopefully, I don't know if the Air Canada strike's going on, but hopefully everyone makes it.
Yeah, it's kind of in the middle of nowhere, right?
It is. I mean, I know most guys I was talking to, a lot of them are just driving up. I mean, it's not too bad. It's like a 7-hour drive from Vancouver, 8 hours, something like that.
Yeah, it's about right. But it's quite a bit out of the way. But people come. People just come from like Edmonton, and it's crazy. Like it blows my mind.
Edmonton is closer than Vancouver, I think.
I think it's about the same. I think it's about 8 hours either way.
Yeah. Yeah, we had the guys who came from Edmonton last year. So yeah, no, I had fun last year. So hopefully you have a good time and you just win with Cruel Boys.
It's the highlight of my year. Well, I really want to go 5-0 at an event so I can interview myself.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be funny. Use 2 mics, jump back and forth between them.
Probably get the least amount of views of any interviews I ever do.
Could happen.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, cool. Have a good time at that. And I think this Army Renown does pretty good. I have not tried it with all pigs, but maybe if I owned them, I would.
It's fun, at least. If you have the models, I suggest you give it a try.
I only have to borrow one, so maybe I will. So.
Cool. Have a good night, Will.
Cool. All right. Talk to you later.
That was Will Reeves. Big thanks for stopping by. Thanks for hanging out. Friend of the channel. Like, subscribe. Wow.